What's up, everyone? It's Scotty with Money Vesting. So Visa is going to be reporting their third quarter fiscal year 2023 numbers next week. So this is going to be a dedicated analysis and video on Visa. We're going to take a look at the earnings estimates. We're going to take a look at the revenue expectations and, of course, go over the numbers, go over the market share, go over the actual earnings estimates for the next several years, and, of course, calculate the intrinsic value and do a technical analysis on this stock as well. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and find it helpful. If you do, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're just joining us for the first time. The link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. We'd love to have you on board, and there is a 16% annual discount available till the end of this month. And I'm happy to share and announce that now we also have an options course if you're interested in taking that. It's called Options Pro. Options cash flow, generate income through options, and we kind of run through a lot of different scenarios and a lot of different strategies in this course, over 20 lectures, and this will continue to get updated with a lot more videos and tutorials and lectures as well. So again, link's going to be down below if you're interested in joining us. There is a 50% discount right now, and the coupon code is going to be LAUNCH, LAUNCH. So launch is going to be that coupon code, and there is a 50% discount, and you get access to all the tutorials for lifetime and all the new content, all the bonus content also for a lifetime as well. So there's also a bundle now available for all three courses. So fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and options trading as well. So super excited. I've worked a lot of hours. Literally over the last 3 years, I have been building these courses, and combined, they now have over 100 lectures and videos and over 20 hours. Actually, 20 is not, so close to 20 hours worth of content is available. So you can check those out if you're interested, of course, and you will have a lot of valuable information. And again, just good understanding of how to value companies, how to analyze stocks, both from a fundamental and technical standpoint, and then, of course, how to generate passive income in general through these options trading strategies as well. So link's going to be down below if you're interested in joining us. So when it comes to Visa, this right here is, again, going to be the intrinsic value spreadsheet. It is pretty much trading almost at an all-time high, trading just under $240. The earnings expectations are a little bit over $2.11 per share, and revenue coming in at just over $8 billion. And they are going to be reporting on Tuesday, July 25th. So that's when they are expected to report. So that's going to be next week, just a couple days, actually a day before the FOMC meeting takes place. So Visa's global market share is just over 54% as of 2023, and it is the most popular credit card network in the world, with more than half of the world's credit card transactions processed by Visa. And more specifically, in North America, it has a market share of over 64%. And in Europe, it has a market share of over 60%, with Latin America a market share of just under 50%. And MasterCard, of course, being the very close competitor for Visa, with a global market share of just over 43% for this company as well. So these are kind of like these two companies that kind of go head to head pretty much in everything that they do. Credit card processing, so Visa and MasterCard are pretty popular. And of course, Amex is also up there, but Visa definitely is the leader, the dominant leader, with a very significant share when it comes to payment processing and credit cards. Now, these right here are some of the significant advantages that Visa has with respect to its moat. So brand recognition is one of them, because it's one of the most recognizable brands in the world, and that gives a significant advantage over new entrants who would need to spend a lot of money to build up their brand recognition. Network of merchants. So Visa has thousands of networks of merchants that accept Visa cards. That makes it easy for consumer to use Visa cards, which gives Visa competitive edge over the payment processor. And of course, economies of scale. The higher number of transaction volumes they're doing, they're able to offer better fees and better pricing because of the higher volume of transactions that they're doing. So that alone is a very, very high barrier of entry for Visa. Now, this right here was the second quarter fiscal year 2023 results. You'll notice that net revenues were up 11% on a year-over-year basis, coming in at just over $8 billion, and GAAP income, net income, was a little bit over $4.3 billion, and that's up 17% year-over-year. That's over a 50% net income margin. I've always loved the margins for Visa, for MasterCard. These companies are absolutely crushing it when it comes to the actual margins and profitability for these companies. And earnings per share was up 20% year-over-year to just over $2 per share, and non-GAAP net income was $4.4 billion, a little over 55-60%, and that was an increase of 14% on a year-over-year basis. Payment volume was up 10% year-over-year. Cross-border volume was up 32% year over year, and cross-border volume total was up 24%, with processed transactions also up over 12% year over year. So Visa's business continues to be very, very resilient, and it continues to grow, continues to do incredibly well. So $1.4 billion in payment volume in the US. International was 1.4. Total was $2.9 billion. For credit, 1.4, and for debit, $1.468 billion. So very nice, consistent growth, and total cards in circulation now over 4.2 billion. That's over 50% of the entire population on Earth. And credit cards, 1.2 billion, and debit cards are going to be 2.9 billion, 6% and 8% growth on a year-over-year basis for debit and credit cards for Visa, respectively. This right here is going to be the breakdown for revenues themselves. So again, services revenue, data processing revenues, international transaction revenue was up the most, up 24%. Other revenues, we got gross revenues up 12% and net revenues up a little bit over 11%. So every single segment of revenue was up for the company, and free cash flow was at about 3.6 billion, and so far year to date they're sitting at over 7.5 billion dollars, and they have utilized a lot of money in buying back shares, so 5.3 billion dollars worth of share repurchases and 1.8 billion dollars worth of dividends also given back to shareholders. So needless to say that Visa is one of the best companies out there, very well run, very high margins, consistent growth in terms of revenues. So going from about 11.7 billion to over 29, almost 30 billion dollars now, and gross profit and operating income has also increased from 11.3 billion to 30 billion, and operating income's gone from 7.2 billion to over 20 billion dollars. Not to mention net income has gone from about just under 5 billion to over 15 billion dollars on a trailing 12-month basis. And of course, consistent share buyback as well, gone from 2.6 billion down to 2.1 billion shares outstanding. Growth in EBITDA, growth in diluted EPS. So this is just an A+ high quality company out there that's doing incredibly well and continues to perform really well. And this right here are going to be some of the margins and profitability metrics. Nothing but solid numbers here. 97% gross margins, over 50% net income margins, free cash flow margin over 50%, return on common equity, assets, and capital very, very strong in the 40%, 20%, 18% range. So no complaints there. And the balance sheet is okay. It's not the best because they are sitting on a little bit of that net debt. So the total debt is over 20 billion. Total cash is over 16.5 billion. So they do have a little bit over $4 billion of net debt, with current ratio and quick ratio sitting at over 1, and debt to free cash flow just a little bit over 3, which again is not the most terrible balance sheet, but I would prefer them to have negative net debt. That's the only thing that's a little bit concerning from a balance sheet standpoint. Speaking of valuation, it is trading at a little bit under 30 times earnings, trading at just over 15 to 16 times sales. And we got a little bit over 25 to 26 times cash flow. So valuation certainly is a little bit more on the higher end here, given that the growth rate is in the mid to low teens for the company. So EPS expected to go from $8.59 to almost $14 in 2027. And revenue expected to grow from $32 billion to over $43 billion. So that's going to be in the low single digits, actually low double digits to high mid single digits for the company as well. So if you do some analysis here, you'll notice that the growth rate is expected as a little bit under 13% for Visa over the next 4 to 5 years. Share dilution, they've consistently bought back shares by about 2.39%. So I'm going to plug in negative 2.5% over here. I'm going to go with about 12% growth rate for the company in terms of earnings, and that's going to be very consistent with what we have over here. And then the discount rate, I'm going to go with 12%. They do pay a little bit of a dividend, but nothing to write home about, just a little bit under 1%. And a margin of safety is going to be 10%. And the PE multiple, right now they're trading at 29 or 30 times earnings. I'm not going to go that expensive. I'm not going to go that high. Let's just do 20 times earnings multiple so that the PEG ratio is sitting perfect at 1.67. And we get down to the fair value sitting roughly at $176. And the price right now is $239 per share. That means it would need to come down 26% in order for this to be trading at its fair value, at its intrinsic value, based on a very reasonable and conservative 12% growth rate, 20 times PE multiple, and of course a discount rate at 12% and a margin of safety built in. We've got a $176 level. So let me know in the comment section below, what do you think? How much Visa is worth or should be worth? But again, this is going to be that sensitivity grid. So if you want to go with a little bit of a lower growth rate and lower multiples, you might end up in the 150s or on 140s. But I'm comfortable in the 170s for Visa. And this right here is going to be the entire technical analysis. And I think for the longest time, I've been watching this right here as a level where I would love to dollar cost average a little bit into the stock. And that's again going to be a 25 to 30% potential drop in this company that we would need in order for it to be trading close to its fair value, close to its intrinsic value. In fact, it was trading at that level back in September, and since then it has rallied over 38%. Resistance is going to stay put at roughly 250, so that's going to be pretty much the all-time high, and a resistance and support level is going to stay put at roughly around $233 per share for Visa as well. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Big earnings coming up for this company. It is one of the best quality companies, one of the highest quality companies, one of the best companies at the moment, in my opinion. And again, valuation's a little bit of a concern because it's trading at a higher price to earnings, price to sales multiples almost 16, and of course, price to cash flow trading at a little bit over 25 as well. But nonetheless, this is a company that's definitely on my watch list for when it comes down in the 170s, preferably under 170s. When it's undervalued, I would be ready to pounce and take advantage of that opportunity as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. If you did, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget, we do have the link to our Discord Patreon down below if you're interested in joining us. And not to mention, the options course is now live and available for everyone to join. There is a 50% discount on launch, and the coupon code is going to be launch. That's what you have to plug in to get a 50% discount for this as well. So as always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.